Because trust wasn't something you gave, it was something that had to grow, and she was starting to feel it grow without permission. But her past was a wall she had built brick by brick. Years ago, someone she loved had taken advantage of her trust and shattered it beyond recognition. Every smile from a man felt like a hook. Every act of kindness felt like bait. She tried to push Daniel away, stopped showing up to places she knew he'd be. But one evening, she found Lily outside the bookstore, crying. Daniel had run back in to pay for books, and Lily had slipped on the wet pavement. Mia knelt, checked her scraped knee, and stayed with her until Daniel returned. "Thank you," he said, breathless, eyes filled with relief. That night, Mia realized something: Daniel never once tried to use her vulnerability against her. He never pushed. Never pried. He just stayed. Weeks later, they met again at the park. It was cold, the kind that turns breath to fog. Mia sat on the bench beside him, watching Lily chase autumn leaves. She didn't know why she spoke, but the words came out anyway. "I don't trust men," she said quietly, staring straight ahead. Daniel didn't flinch. "That's okay. You don't have to." They sat there for a long time, not touching, not talking. And somehow, that meant more than any promise she had ever been given. Months passed. There were still days when Mia retreated, when old fears wrapped around her like chains. But every time she pulled away, Daniel didn't chase, he simply waited. And slowly, she realized he wasn't trying to break down her walls. He was building a door she could open when she was ready. The night she finally reached for his hand, it wasn't because she had decided to trust all men. It was because she had decided to trust him. And when his fingers closed gently around hers, she knew he wasn't holding her hand to keep her from leaving. He was holding it so she knew she could stay. Rain poured against the cafe windows like the world was trying to drown out her thoughts. Mia sat in the corner, her hands wrapped around a mug of untouched coffee. She wasn't here for the warmth, it had been years since she had let herself feel that. Trust was something she'd buried deep, and she had every reason to keep it that way. When Daniel walked in, shaking the rain from his hair, he looked like any other man trying to escape the storm. But there was something different. His eyes searched the cafe, not for a seat, but for the little girl trailing behind him. She was 5, maybe 6, with a pink raincoat and shy brown eyes. Daniel helped her out of the coat, spoke softly to her, and only sat down when she was settled with a hot chocolate in front of her. Mia told herself she didn't care. She wasn't going to notice his gentleness, or the way his smile never seemed forced. Men smiled like that when they wanted something, and she had sworn never to fall for that again. But life has a way of weaving threads together. 2 weeks later, Mia's car broke down on the edge of town. It was late, raining again, and her phone had died. She stood by the roadside, arms wrapped around herself, when headlights pulled up. Her chest tightened as the door opened, then she saw Daniel. "Need a ride?" he asked, not stepping closer. "It's okay if you'd rather not." Her instinct screamed to refuse, but the cold and the rain were merciless. She hesitated, then nodded. The ride was quiet except for the sound of the rain, but Daniel didn't fill the silence with small talk. He didn't ask personal questions. He just made sure she got home safely. After that, they began crossing paths more often, at the market, at the park, at the little bookstore Mia loved. Sometimes Daniel's daughter, Lily, would run up to Mia and chatter about school or the fairy tales she was reading. Daniel always stayed a step back, giving space. One evening, Mia found herself sitting across from him at a small charity event for the town's community center. The hall's heater had broken, and everyone was shivering. Daniel noticed her rubbing her hands together and, without a word, slid his warm palms over hers. Not to pull her closer. Not to make her look at him. Just to warm her hands. They stayed like that all night, two people who barely knew how to let someone in, just holding on in silence. It scared Mia.